sky. I'm taking
Okay. I know what happened. My mistake. Stream. Now, all the sound's working there, so they should be able to hear you out there.
a little break from my little break to make this video about a subject that seems to be on the minds of everybody, and that's Antarctica and the Antarctic Treaty.
1, 2, 3, test. I came through on the YouTube side.
You did. Okay.
I did. I couldn't stand it.
You did that time. Well, okay. I'll go back to the other scene. That's what I was testing. Now Bob's paused.
Right, let's have a quick look.
You have to talk for people to hear.
Yeah, I know. Can you hear me now?
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, it's going out to YouTube when we talk, when Bob is paused.
Right, okay. But when we go back to Zoom,
We go back to the Zoom because we didn't set the audio up for Zoom.
Yeah, which is I've got it called the Discord stream at the moment, which should be called Zoom stream. Because I can go to Zoom.
Settings are,
Okay, I'll have
and then
in
go back to
settings,
this
yeah.
one and copy those same and set the settings the same. You should be able to get audio in both.
If I do a screen capture, can I just PM it to someone or PM it and then you can see it?
Well,
And that way someone can read it out to me when I change the window because I can't. I won't be able to.
I haven't got a. Yeah, okay.
That's the only way I'm going to be able to do it. So I'll screen capture that and I'll put it in. I'll put it in our private place.
Our private place?
You mean Discord because you can't post it in.
It's in our private place. Right, you might have to open it up and open it up as original to see it. All right, now I can take that, cancel that window, and then I can go.
Where did you put it, Terry?
In our private place in Discord.
Oh,
And now I've got to go. Now I've got to go to Scene Selection Zoom. Wi-Fi.
And that's exactly what we had for the other one. So it should
Be working.
work.
So the only way to know if it's working is if anyone can hear us.
Yeah, it's coming through now, Terry.
It's coming through now, Terry. It's coming through now, Terry. Okay. It's coming through Mic Auxiliary on OBS. And I'll play Mr. Bob for a sec.
If you've ever wondered the background
We're
of this
getting
or
Bob
what it
on
actually
Mic
involves,
Auxiliary 2.
this is going to be the video that'll tell you.
Desktop
Everybody
audio
will be able to
is
hear
not
Sit
that.
back, enjoy, and let's all learn.
desktop
I can
audio is
hear it.
not desktop audio is the only one that's not being used.
It's coming through.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, Alan, the one at the top in here in scene selection for mixer is desktop audio, which is not being used at all.
Yeah,
Doesn't matter.
I just set it up so that they would be able to hear us in both.
Yeah.
If you play the video while you're in the wrong one, we will all still hear the audio, even though we won't be able to see the video.
Okay. Now the scene collection for now. I'll go to the YouTube stream, which might have to have the whole lot copied again, which we don't know. But we'll play Bob, and we'll see who hears what.
Learn a little something about the history of Antarctica and Cold War relationships.
They got an
You know,
echo,
this is
Terry.
as good a definition as any for the term
There's an echo.
There's an echo, mate.
So do you want me to check the settings, Alan?
Yeah, when you're playing the video, you need to mute us.
Oh, okay. So you don't want me to check the set. You don't need to check the settings.
You
Then.
You need to mute it going out to.
Well, your voices anyway.
You need to mute it through going through OBS, because otherwise it's going to go round and round and round and round.
Now, would that be Mic Auxiliary 2?
It was right. Whichever one kicks over when I'm talking, you need to mute.
deterrence. It's defined as the prevention from action by fear of the consequences. Deterrence is the state of mind brought about by the existence of a credible threat of an unacceptable counteraction. Well, as I mentioned in my last video, I'm out for a class right now. And this happens to be the subject of a paper that I wrote for that class, and I thought I'd share some of it with you. Deterrence has three basic parts to it, and I'd like to illustrate that with a little story. Say my daughter and I decide to get in the airplane and head down to Jackson for a $100 hamburger, a little father-daughter time. But it's a beautiful day, it's VFR. I don't happen to check any of the TFRs
Sorry, I'll unmute you guys so the audience can hear you. Now, see, the scene collection's going to be in the road. Zoom one, right? Okay, that's Zoom. This is confusing. I have to make more room on the screen. If I share, shit. Shit. You just have to talk amongst yourself for a second.
Yes, we can do that.
Long as they can hear you out there when I'm running it through Zoom.
Hello, internet.
Hello, Carl.
Hi, Carl.
Hello. Hello, Juno. Wait, I'm getting an
Okay.
Australian accent. What's going on?
So,
You
Hello,
better-
Andrew.
so who's got the stream playing in the background with the audio on?
My bad.
Mine too.
Because I was self-muting my mic so I could tell Terry if it was coming through or not.
I don't get it.
Yeah, because you don't pay enough, Carl.
Oh yes, that's right.
You just
What if
told
Terry
you
would
just
like to start?
told Carl you loved him, and then you throw that at him. It's mean.
Well, you know.
It wouldn't have been the same if it had been any other way.
Technology meant to get smaller and smaller, not bigger
I
and
think I
bigger.
need to mute myself because I might say something.
Say what?
Just something. Anything.
Something.
Yes.
Haha.
You know, if you keep hanging
Oh
out with
no.
us, Carl, you're going to end up with that real ochre Australian accent.
Hmm.
I was thinking if Carl keeps hanging out with us, we're gonna end up with an accent like his.
That'll be worse.
You never know, eh?
We have to stick together in the southern hemisphere.
But I don't know. I might end up with the big coughs.
Oh, you're going to get in trouble, Rich. You haven't got an avatar.
I know.
It comes
I
and goes.
was actually going to ask, how do I get the avatar? I'll make it my big coughs.
I don't know. It appeared for a bit a little while ago, but it flickered and died.
Yeah, no, that was because it was a live avatar. So it was like the avatar that I had, but it was putting my face in front of it, which is pretty horrendous.
Mine worked finally again.
Yeah, I did it the other night when we first got on here, and I was drunk, and I cannot recall how I got that to work. I have a feeling that I might have got on my computer or my on the iPad, like another device, to do it.
You on your phone at the moment, are you, Rich?
No, I sure am. Yes.
Yeah, that's what it'll be.
Mm.
You can do it via the Zoom website if you log in that way.
That must have been how I did it. I must have done it through my laptop last time. But for whatever reason, it didn't remember me when I joined back in. So
My avatar's dedicated to Carl.
At least it's not dedicated to Gorg anymore.
No, I thought I'd back off with that. He hasn't been around for a while.
Yeah, he's been upset since his tank thing didn't work out, I think. I'll have to shoot him a message. Are you listening, Gorgie?
because I sent him some like like aeroplane sketches, put them in his drawer, and then there was nothing.
Well, he's got his
Yeah,
own
the
Discord
crickets.
now. He's probably living in there.
No, that's where I put the examples of the types of sketches that I wanted for the aeroplane. And nothing, no. Because I checked back in to see if there's been a response. No.
He might be busy with his girlfriend.
Highly unlikely.
I'm not going to.
Oh, sorry, I'm yawning.
Oh, got me going now.
Those audio issues wear me out, and I've got nothing to do with it.
And number one fans out there, Christine. Number one ticket holder out in the chat.
He says he's idle at the moment, so he might
Who
be.
says who is idle?
Discord says Gorky's idle, so he might be hiding in. He might be in bed. So how's that weather been, eh?
Well, it rained this morning, but the sun's coming out now.
It's been okay here.
It rained here.
Yeah, it's been raining here.
So
We
it must
need
be
the
getting
rain.
on towards spring. It must be getting on towards spring for you guys, mustn't it?
Yeah, at the end of the end of next month. No, end of the month. Yeah.
It's 4
3
degrees.
days.
It's 4 degrees outside at the moment.
Yeah, but it's the middle of the night, isn't it? Or virtually the middle of the night.
But that's not spring. It's still winter.
Yeah, 3 days to go. 3 days to go.
Morning of pretty decent fog here.
We had some fog Tuesday morning, but it burned off really early, almost before the sun came up. But at one point, I was able to look out of my bedroom window and not even see the end of the garden.
That's pretty thick fog.
It's about 25, 26 metres.
Breaker.
Aha,
Cut-
Terry's
cut-
back.
10-4,
Come-
big buddy.
Back.
Come in,
Welcome back,
Rabbit
You got your ears on there, you bunch of people?
Man.
Yes, we've got our ears on.
My avatar shows up now, Terry.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit! I got a half a screen size nearly of that. I think I'll have to make it smaller. Oh dear, that frightened me.
Aren't you lucky I don't have a video
Oh
on?
no! Oh God, get it away!
Every time Ozzy speaks, I need to hold a towel up
Yeah, I
because I
know,
feel
me
like
too.
he's
I can't
curving on
shit.
me.
I can't. I'm getting flashed every time.
I should turn my video on. That'll scare you.
Yeah, but then Leah laughed, and then that came up, and I thought, oh shit. Okay.
Boo.
How do I fix that?
Not fog, low chemtrails.
So they're able to hear us out there in the real world.
I think they can hear us out there in the real world since Christine Frost Laserbeam said, not fog, low chemtrails, get your vinegar spray out.
Right now, what I was going to mention before, Alan, is I've been going from the scene selections now, scene collection or whatever you call it, and for you guys
Yeah.
to be able to talk with the which one am I using at the moment? I'm using the Zoom scene collection at the moment. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what
And they
happens
can all hear
what
us.
happens when I share video through Zoom now?
You need to
What would
you
happen?
need to switch to the YouTube scene that
Yeah.
we set up,
Yeah.
and then
Yes.
share the video
Right.
in Zoom.
Right.
Then start the video playing.
Yeah, but don't I got to mute yous guys?
But you also got to mute us guys in Zoom.
No, in OBS.
But of course, sorry, you got to mute us in OBS. But of course, you'll still be able to hear us talking in Zoom, so you'll know when we want you to. You'll know we want you to stop,
Yeah.
and then you'll have to
Unmute.
unmute us. Yes.
Yeah. But then I have to swap scenes.
No.
Oh,
They'll still be able to hear us. You just have to unmute us in OBS, because while Bob's playing, we can't be active while Bob's playing, because while Bob's playing,
they're getting an echo or something.
you get a feedback loop. Yeah, you get an echo.
And we may be able to fix that later, next time or something.
I hope so. I've got to try and figure it out.
Yeah, okay. Oops.
Thought I had it figured at one point, but now I can't remember.
Okay. Where am I? We're using banana now, are we? Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, okay. I just wanted to make sure I save settings in banana.
And now I'm getting a definite feedback from somebody.
Okay. That's potato. I'm going to call this one banana test. Banana. Test 1. Alright, that's banana test 1 saved to a file. So you got an audio issue somewhere, but it's not from my end.
Seems to be fixed now.
Okay. And there's no. I'm not getting any crackling from anyone, so that's one good thing.
Yeah. So we are ready to go. Everything is ready to go when you're ready.
Okay. Well, that's the thing. I didn't really have anything ready now because everything got stuffed up.
Well,
I lost my whole format theme for tonight.
Can I let you decide with everybody else what video you're going to watch and go make myself some lunch?
Yes, you can go and do that while we chit chat for a minute while we work out what we can do. Because I know I wanted to put this to bed, this Bob the Science Guy and the Arctic Treaty topic that I started a few episodes ago. If we're able to,
I'll be back.
yeah, you go, Alan. We'll be right. Okay. I'm just wondering if we should just put the Antarctic Treaty page up and share that, and then it can be read through and looked at. I think that might be the next step. I think just for a test type of stuff. Unless you're able to share it. Where is everybody?
We're
Hi.
here.
Oh,
We've
yeah.
just been quiet.
Oh, wages.
Yeah, we're good boys.
Are you able to
And
share?
girls.
Are you able to share
Yeah.
that text document that you?
So you want them? Yeah, I'll bring it up, Terry.
And we'll see if we can see that in the live stream.
Okay.
See how that goes as a shared thing.
Is that the one, like the link to the actual website, like off ATS website?
I don't know. Peter was setting it up. He had it saved somewhere.
So it's the one that I threw in the homework channel.
Bob,
But is that the one off the ATS website, like the actual Antarctic Treaty System website?
Yeah, that's what I don't know.
Yes, that's correct. It came directly off there.
Bob's still showing on the screen. Oh,
Yeah.
Bob.
Yeah, I know. I've got it. I can't change him yet until I Okay, I'll switch scene. Oh shit. Alright, I'll switch scenes back to Zoom.
Oh God, they're
They'll all get a fright in the side chat now.
yeah, they're all staring at Carl.
Go away.
Go away. Yeah, that's it. Go away. Well, that got rid of him. Yeah. So when you share, it should come up in theory in Zoom.
All right, you should be getting that now.
Here we go. There you go. Now you might have to make it a little bit opposite to smaller. So we can.
That's it, showing up on the YouTube now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but how are we going to see it bigger?
What do you want to do? Is it too small?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to
Hang
figure out how we. Because you're sharing your whole window.
How's that?
You can't open it as a separate thing unless it's sharing your whole screen.
Yeah, that's better.
Oh yeah, you should be sharing the document. Don't share your whole window.
Yeah, it's all right. I just lost a screen. That's all right. I've got the other screen, Terry.
Oh, okay. I just thought it might show up better if you just shared the image or whatever.
I think he knows exactly what he needs to be hiding.
So scroll up until the Antarctic Treaty's right at the top. That should give us enough. Well, that's enough, I suppose. There. Now I can read that pretty easily where I am, so obviously they should be able to read it pretty good on a full screen. Who's looking at it on the live feed to see if it can be smaller or bigger?
It looks okay on the live feed as well.
Okay, because I'm looking at it through the Discord. I mean through the Zoom OBS side of it to see what it's coming through as. Okay, I don't know if I can do anything about that on my end. Gives a look.
I think I've got all my porn folders hidden.
Is that any better? That's not better, is it? No.
No, it's not.
Once your screen's here, I can't get out of it.
Yeah.
I see now it's over one side.
Yeah, I know what. Yeah, it didn't work what I thought.
It was okay before. You could see the whole thing in the YouTube.
Yeah, that's where I've got it now. Yeah, I thought I was able to do something with it on my end.
The thing I find funny is right in the middle of the screen, I just see the word Discord.
Hey?
How do they even know anything about Discord back then?
Where's it say Discord? Oh, International
Here.
Discord.
Don't-
I thought, what the F are you talking about? Oh, dear.
Because I've just jumped on the on Zoom for the video on my laptop to see if I can
Okay.
not be so naked.
So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 governments that have a say in this treaty. Of all mankind. What about the animals and dogs and cats?
they're not
And the-
sentient yet, so they
and
don't
the-
get a say.
And the penguins. Look, they're not even putting...
Terry,
What?
what about the women?
Well, yeah, the women kind. They're a kind. They're still a kind.
Was there two of those kind put on Noah's Ark?
All kinds.
The people kind.
Oh well, see, that'll be one of the things, because it's about to go back and get redone. So they'll change words like that into humankind and stuff like that
Oh.
to be politically correct, because you can't say man or woman.
Yeah, but they forgot about the penguins.
Well, maybe it's further down the document about the penguins.
Oh, I think there is something about the wildlife in Antarctica in there.
They're going to arm with different rifles this time.
But what's the main claim that we want to look at, I guess, with the Antarctic Treaty?
Well, it was to do with the ABC newsfeed, which is what I should have played in the first place. And then Bob was going through the treaty, which linked it onto the ABC news about wanting to put satellite was it satellite dishes or something in Antarctica to look at satellites, and they thought it would be good for something about military purposes, and that was the.
Well, I reckon the Americans, the British, and the Soviets have already got them.
Well, I know for a fact that there is they use sat phones there already, and they use dishes for the sat phones.
So wouldn't that be still classed as something for military, as long as you've got a satellite?
But they use it for communications. Like, there's two ways to communicate with down there. It's either via satellite or via radio waves within our ionosphere, and the satellite's more reliable because it doesn't depend on where the atmosphere is sitting at the time.
I thought there was 3 forms of communication: telephone, telegram, and telewoman.
Well, they'd all know then, wouldn't they? Until they can teach the penguins to fly like pigeons, they've got issues with making carrier penguins.
So do you want me to play the ABC news feed again so we can get a bit of a backstory to what we're talking about?
Yeah, all right. I'll stop sharing because that means it's ready anyway.
So you've got that ready? Because I did have Bob as well. If you just wanted to go to listen to Bob for 16 minutes.
Yeah, now I can just quickly go through and make sure all my porn folders are closed.
Oh, okay. Does anything happen when I do that? No? Okay, good.
No.
Good. It's not doing anything. See if we can do this right. If I open that up. close that.
The ABC has obtained notes from a private briefing given by a senior Australian Defence Force official.
Put that back to there. Sounds there. Virtual cable. Okay,
Oh, hang on.
Scene collection. YouTube stream. Share. Okay. I think that's right now. Then the only thing I've got to do is mute yous guys somewhere. I hope I got the right one when I go to play. Okay. So I'll let this news play for 3:44, and then we'll go from there. Perhaps anyone in the audience is out there still paying attention. Okay, I'll play the video.
Outlining military opportunities in Antarctica. It is the most detailed assessment of the southern continent to emerge from defence. Political reporter joins us now from Canberra. Jackson, what does this document tell us about how the Department of Defence views Antarctica?
Yeah, hi Ros. Publicly, Australia's politicians, the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade and the Antarctic Division are big supporters of the Antarctic Treaty. This is a document that bans military activity, it prevents mineral extraction, and it sets up Antarctica as a place for peaceful science. It's very rare to get a strategic insight into Antarctica, even though Australia has a territorial claim to 42% of the continent. Now, the document we have obtained shows that these thoughts, these strategic assessments, are being made inside the Australian government and specifically inside the Department of Defence. The document we have shows that the Department of Defence is considering rolling out dual-use technology. So this is technology such as space object tracking, monitoring of other nations' satellites that has both a civil and military application. Even though the treaty bans military activities, it's silent on this kind of dual-use technology.
So why is Antarctica becoming such a hotspot for international affairs?
Well, it's the only place on Earth, really, that you've got the US, a re-energised Russia, and an ambitious China operating in the same landmass with undetermined territorial claims. As scarce resources become an issue in coming decades, some commentators believe that conflicts may emerge in Antarctica. The other thing to consider in Antarctica is the Antarctic Treaty is 60 years old this year. Now, this is a treaty that allows science, important climate science and astrophysics to be undertaken in Antarctica. Experts are saying the Antarctic Treaty is showing its age, and that could mean more problems for science down in Antarctica.
So, Jackson, what are the most pressing conflicts in Antarctica today?
Two major conflicts actually involve Australia and China. There's a place on the top of the Antarctic ice sheet called Dome A, where China has a research station. They have made a proposal to manage this area of Antarctica, and it's actually inside Australia's territorial claim. At the moment, Australia says this proposal has no formal standing under the Antarctic Treaty, and some commentators believe that this opposition from Australia is partly to deter a future territorial claim from China. The other issue in Antarctica at the moment is a new proposal for a marine protected area. Only China and Russia are opposed to this new marine protected area off the coast of Antarctica.
Thanks, Jackson.
We can talk now. Yeah, I found I found the penguins. I don't see. I can't see which one's getting interviewed.
The Just a thought on, the talking about dual use military civilian technology. It's already there,
In what way? Like
and everyone uses it every day.
That's right.
what the
GPS.
GPS, yeah.
The US has selective availability on GPS, but it's a dual use, right?
Yep. And I remember back in the 80s, Plessy sold to South Africa a radar that was most definitely dual use, air defence and air traffic control.
So really, we've got to see if this treaty, what they're claiming for the complaints, is actually anything in the treaty that says anything about what you can do and what you can't do.
And it's not just that though, Terry. Like realistically, any communication station can be, being the operative word, be used for military.
Yeah, that's right. Whether the intent, my understanding of military use is like putting a military presence there, it's got nothing to do with communications. Like using the GPS as for an example, that is dual use. And if something happens and with GPS and the Americans decide to turn on selective availability again, could you imagine the shit fight that's going to happen? When all of a sudden your GPS is now 500 meters plus of inaccuracy. It's not just going to be Antarctica that's affected. It's going to be worldwide travel, all that sort of stuff. You won't be able to use that sort of thing in air travel and normal navigation where you need the accuracy, right?
It's not just that. It's not just that though. There's, they say that that they bring up that whole military argument, and members of the defence go there already. However, it's not in a military position.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's as a research scientist or it's as a engineer consultant to do buildings or whatever. So it's the finite law, or it's the finite reading of the interpretation of what the treaty actually says, what it all comes down to.
They're mentioning about the land percentage of who has control as well. So the say in the matter, I suppose, is if the percentage, but the other people do have a say in what goes on.
Yeah, I think the term, Australia having a 41% claim, I think the term claim kind of muddies the waters a bit. Like, yes, Australia is responsible for 41% of Antarctica, right? As far as what resources will have to go in when certain things happen, and the area that they can use for research and things like that. But it's more where their responsibility lies. It's not like I claim this land as mine. It's not theirs at all. It's not Australia. It's 41%. No, but they are responsible for 41% of it. So if there is an oil spill, if there is, a crash or, some issue, and it happens in their area, their 41%, then essentially it would be Australia that would be responsible for fixing that issue. It's not so much a claim that I claim this as our territory at all. It's a bit misleading.
I thought it went back to before the treaty, where UK, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, as it was then, Argentina, all claimed areas of Antarctica as their territory, and the Antarctic Treaty basically says that while the treaty is in force, these claims will not be these territorial claims will not be pursued, and everybody will work in cooperation. but that if the treaty stopped working, that would kind of go back to the default previous state of each country claiming that those areas of territory in Antarctica.
Yeah, that's probably the origin of it. But I guess as with the treaty in place, it's more that's what they're responsible for, as opposed to with the treaty in place, it is actually a claim that's kind of a little bit misleading.
Yeah, and I also believe that no other country can put in a territorial claim either under the treaty.
Correct.
So, for example, China couldn't go to Antarctica, set up a load of bases wherever, and then claim that area as their sovereign territory.
So I think some of the problem may lie in the China side of things. Maybe they were looking at setting up more exclusion zones for the like for the whales and all of that, and part of the Chinese individual or Chinese teams going in there was to that whole whaling side of things as well.
But I think if it's a scientific research point of view, I think even if you're not in the Antarctic Treaty, like you can still, under that, if it's for peaceful scientific purposes, that information is shared, even if you're outside the Antarctic Treaty. I might be incorrect in that, but
well, I'll break.
So whilst you got all the signers of the Antarctic Treaty, that's one thing. But the information that's shared, from my understanding, is worldwide with everyone.
Yes, I think it is.
Well, we'll listen to a little bit of Bob to see what his take on the treaty part side of it is, and then we might be able to put the two together and see what the actual treaty has in relation to what we know. Okay. So user get muted. Bye. And we'll listen to Bob for a few minutes, then I'll pause it. I'll break it up into probably 3 sections if I can.
Well, hi everyone, and greetings from Northern Michigan. This is Bob the Science Guy. I'm taking a little break from my little break to make this video about a subject that seems to be on the minds of everybody, and that's Antarctica and the Antarctic Treaty. If you've ever wondered the background of this or what it actually involves, this is going to be the video that'll tell you. So sit back, enjoy, and let's all learn a little something about the history of Antarctica and Cold War relationships. You know, this is as good a definition as any for the term deterrence. It's defined as the prevention from action by fear of the consequences. Deterrence is the state of mind brought about by the existence of a credible threat of an unacceptable counteraction. Well, as I mentioned in my last video, I'm out for a class right now, and this happens to be the subject of a paper that I wrote for that class, and I thought I'd share some of it with you. Deterrence has 3 basic parts to it, and I'd like to illustrate that with a little story. Say my daughter and I decide to get in the airplane and head down to Jackson for a $100 hamburger, a little father-daughter time. But it's a beautiful day, it's VFR. I don't happen to check any of the TFRs or the NOTAMs before I leave. Now, on my flight path, I'm going to pass directly over Michigan State University. And I figured it'd be a great time to just point out my old alma mater to my little girl. Unfortunately, it's game day. More unfortunately, turns out the president is a Spartan fan and happens to be attending the game. Can you see where this is going? Well, hi there! Where did you come from? Now, if you look out the window of your little Cessna and you happen to see two of these guys sitting right there,
On
it might
pause.
be a really good idea to get on 121.5 and maybe have a chat with them, because they really want to talk to you. But say you don't. What's the next thing that they do? They roll up on the side just to make sure that you really understand they're carrying missiles. This stuff is about to get real. You need to get on the radio. Okay, so this is the first step of an effective deterrence, and that is a credible threat. The second step is the consequences of what happens if you continue your action. I could continue to mind my own business and keep flying down towards Lansing. There's a very good chance that I'm not going to make it that far. Now, the third option is to remember that there was a really good hamburger place in Grand Rapids. Make a right turn and head over there. Just leave the area and de-escalate the situation. Well, what does this have to do with Antarctica and the Antarctic Treaty, you may ask? Well, in 1945, World War II ended. It was a devastating war for all the countries involved, especially the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union and the United States emerged from that war like punch-drunk champions. We were triumphant, but we had been through a horrible experience. We also realized shortly after the war that we were the dominant two superpowers in the world, and we were eventually going to have some sort of a contest between us to see who was going to determine the future of the Earth. Rather than continue the war, we entered a period of Cold War, where we fought wars by proxy and with trade delegations, competing for favor and friends in the Third World, manufacturing them out of whole cloth if necessary. Both the United States and the Soviet Union adapted a policy that the enemy of my enemy is my friend. This led up to a position in the late 1940s and early 1950s where the US and the Soviet Union were jockeying for position on Earth, much like a superpower chess match. Two strategic locations were identified. One was space, the high ground. However, technology at the time prevented significant exploitation of space for military purposes. So essentially, competition there would have to wait for the technology to catch up. Now, since space had to really wait for the 1960s for the technology to catch up, what we could reach in the early to mid-50s was Antarctica. We had the technology to be there. As a matter of fact, America had quite a large presence in Antarctica. If you look at that large bay, that is the location of Little America. The South Pole is slightly inland from that, and if you look past the South Pole from Little America, you will see a large patch of Antarctica as large as the United States. We've heard that before, I believe. Here's why Antarctica is strategically significant. First of all, from Antarctica, you can go anywhere in the world. If you look at the 3 o'clock position here, you'll see the southern tip of Africa. If you look down at the 7 and 8 o'clock position, you'll see Australia and Tasmania and New Zealand. But notice that there is a large open ocean between Antarctica, Australia, and New Zealand, and between Antarctica and Africa. Well, while the oceans between Antarctica, Australia, New Zealand, and Africa are relatively wide, here's the strategic problem: the Drake Passage. The Drake Passage is between the southern tip of South America and the Antarctic Peninsula. It is only a couple of 100 miles wide. Now, in the 1950s, Argentina and Chile were American allies. To get from the Pacific Ocean on the left to the Atlantic Ocean on the right, there were essentially only 3 routes, if you don't count the summer route across the top of Canada. And that is through the Drake Passage, through the Straits of Magellan, just north of it at the southern tip of South America, and in the Panama Canal. Now, imagine that there are Soviet air bases and naval bases on the Antarctic Peninsula. We still have the Panama Canal, but it's a relatively small target in an age of nuclear weapons. We have the Straits of Magellan, again, a relatively small target in the age of nuclear weapons. The Drake Passage is easily covered by air and naval assets from bases in the Antarctic Peninsula. And if those are hostile to us, they can restrict our travel between the Atlantic and the Pacific. But even worse, consider this problem from the Soviet standpoint. Their opponent, the United States, owns the Panama Canal. They aren't going through the Panama Canal. Argentina and Chile are U.S. allies. They're not going through the Straits of Magellan. If the United States had air and naval bases in the Antarctic Peninsula, we could essentially shut off their passage between the Atlantic and the Pacific. And recall from the American Civil War, when the Union took control of the Mississippi River, it split the Confederacy in half, and that essentially ended the war. The Soviets could not allow that to occur. This became a flashpoint as superpowers and other countries began to jockey for position in Antarctica and militarize it. Now, how do we prevent the Soviets from taking control of Antarctica and especially the Antarctic Peninsula? We use deterrence, and we use the three elements of deterrence. The first element of deterrence is to present a credible threat. In Operation High Jump in the summer of 1946 to 47, we sent 14 naval ships to Antarctica, including an aircraft carrier. This carrier task force was sent to Antarctica not to hunt secret Nazi bases or wipe out the last of the Tartarian Empire. It was a very public display of and a show of force to demonstrate to the Soviets that Antarctica was well within our reach. We could project power there, and we could literally occupy it at any time of our choosing. Okay, let's say that the Soviets ignore the show of force, the first stage of deterrence, and they go ahead and they set up a naval base and a couple of airstrips on the Antarctic Peninsula. Now the second stage of deterrence comes in. You may have won a round, but you're not going to enjoy it. Because in this case, you're going to have company, and lots of it. Antarctica is closer to South America and friendly territory than the Hawaiian Islands are to the west coast of the United States. We would probably have a dozen bases set up in short order around the continent of Antarctica and around their base on the Antarctic Peninsula. And every Friday night, there would be a low-level Mach 2 pass over their officers' club. And every Saturday morning, there would be a tongue-in-cheek letter of apology from one of a dozen air base commanders in Antarctica, apologizing for the errant flight. And quite frankly, if they so much as shot a BB gun in the general direction of the aircraft, recall that Eisenhower was president and Curtis LeMay was head of the Air Force. It would not have worked out well. Now, at the beginning of the video, I said that there were three basic principles of deterrence. The first one is a very public and credible show of force. That was what Operation High Jump was. Nothing else. The second is, okay, so you go ahead and do it anyhow. Good for you. You're not going to enjoy it. The Soviets knew that if they actually established a base on the Antarctic Peninsula, we would have a dozen bases in short order surrounding them. This is our neighborhood. The third principle of deterrence is give them another option. Is there something that is more mutually beneficial that we could do other than fight a war over penguins? And that was the Antarctic Treaty. You know, there seems to be some controversy over what the Antarctic Treaty actually says.
So America did come into it again as a show of force to start all this then, by the sound of it. It was their idea.
I mean, for most of that, I was a little bit lost as to what the point was, and
yeah, I could see the point. I could see the point to be as in it was a strategic placement of land, and the area between South America and Antarctica. What is a route that can be travelled by sea-going vessels, but not so much air-going vessels. I was picking up on.
I mean,
that
I guess I can't speak to it like the military history side of it. No, I didn't realise potentially there was that much as far as what Bob was going into with the push, you know, as far as the whole Cold War issues. But
yeah, I mean, remember that back then, America would dearly have loved to have been able to have put military bases around, especially in the Antarctic Peninsula. But that they knew that would probably end up in a hot war with the Soviets in Antarctica, and it would, they might have won, but then it might well have pushed everything over the edge. So it's just better to go. It's better to say, right, we will keep it as a demilitarized zone, just like the buffer, just like buffer zones between North and South Korea and various other places in the world, where the military isn't allowed, and therefore neither side can get an advantage or a disadvantage.
Without getting into the politics side of it, could it be that America wanted a piece of the pie and they thought that the best way to have a piece of the pie would be to share it with the other people that would be deserving of it?
To a degree, but I still think it was mostly the determination that they didn't want to fight a war down there with the Russians or the Soviets, whatever you want to call them, and that the easiest way to not do that was to make it off limits for everybody's military. And is somebody else going to speak?
I was going to say, is Terry still there, or?
I don't know.
I'm back.
Because it's gone awfully quiet in here.
Oh, there
again.
he is. He's back.
Yeah. I couldn't mute myself because I'd have to change the window.
Oh, also, I'd like to notice the bullet point number 2. The present treaty shall not prevent the use of military personnel or equipment for scientific research or for any other peaceful purpose.
That's correct.
No.
Yeah, that's essentially what we said earlier.
But just because something can be used for the military,
Well, that allows the military in there.
yeah, that still allows them in there to do work, and any equipment that they may use, as long as if it's not used for military, be it making a hold fast, a stronghold or anything like that, their fortifications or anything along those lines. If it's only used for scientific research or anything to do with that, well, it's fine.
Yeah, it kind of allows you the advantage of being able to use a country's probably best transport assets for getting there, especially by air, because the military are the sort of people who are most likely to be operating things like Hercules and other transport aircraft that are likely to be able to get in and out of Antarctica.
Sky Traders, they've got their contract. Most of their work is military based, and you saw it in one of those pictures in that video, the A319. And it's a long range setup. They're a civilian company with a military contract, essentially.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, obviously Hercs go back and forth, but yeah, the amount of money that they get for those contracts, it's all good for the economy in my mind.
Oh yeah. But I mean, in the past, I'm guessing most of the air transport in and out was with military type aircraft.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Hercs and
Yeah.
C-17s, this day and age as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, anything that because it's mostly the military that operate the types of aircraft that can get into small unmade fields.
And let's be honest, if you want a team of individuals that aren't necessarily, shall we use the word slaves, however, if they get told they have to go somewhere and work, yeah, military work really well at doing that.
Are we going to listen to the rest of it now? Or?
Go on then.
I've muted you. Can you still hear me when I mute?
Yes.
Yeah, we can still hear you, and we can still hear each other. It's just the outside can't hear us.
No, they can't hear you. It'd be a shame I couldn't turn it down on my end, and then I could hear you. Okay.
It's a very short document. There's articles. Let's just go over them and see exactly what it has to say. Now, Article 1, as you would be expecting,
you just can
no
say
military
pause
activity,
at any time
no military occupation, no military maneuvers, no testing of weapons. You can have a few troops here and there just for local security, but you're not going to be fortifying or militarizing the continent. That's it. Everybody agreed to it. Now, Article 2 refers to the International. That was 1957 to 58, the year before the treaty was worked out. During the International Geophysical Year, scientists from all over the world studied the Earth to learn more about it and exchanged scientific information and did cooperative studies. It was kind of cool. Now, in Antarctica, one of the Russian meteorologists spent the winter at Little America, and one of the American meteorologists spent the winter with the Russians. We all sat around the campfire and sung Kumbaya and talked about how great science was, and everybody wanted to go ahead and continue that. Now, Article 3 is actually kind of an interesting article. It says that all science in Antarctica will be coordinated amongst the different powers. We don't want to duplicate efforts. We want to sit down and do studies, for example, that need to be done at several different locations at the same time. There needs to be some coordination. We want to be able to exchange personnel with the other stations. Antarctica doesn't belong to anyone. Science does not belong to any one nation. Any findings from Antarctica need to be shared with the United Nations and the world. Very noble idea of what science is. Now, Article 4 has to do with the 7 nations that claim territory in Antarctica prior to the treaty. It says that by signing the treaty, you're not giving up those claims. You're not enforcing those claims either. They'll be left for a later date. Now, the important thing is that the Russians and the United States both did not recognize anyone else's claims in Antarctica. We reserved the right to make our own, but we chose at this time not to make claims of land in Antarctica. Now, Article 5 is a fascinating aspect of the Antarctic Treaty. Most people consider the Antarctic Treaty the first arms control treaty between the United States and the Soviet Union. Antarctica is to be a nuclear-free zone. You will not detonate weapons there. You will not dispose of materials there. Nukes just stay out of the entire continent, and everybody agrees. Article 6, the Antarctic Treaty covers everything south of 60 degrees south latitude. It does not interfere with freedom of navigation of the high seas. That's it. Now, Article 7 has a couple of parts to it. It's mostly concerned with the fact that all parties of the Antarctic Treaty have a right to inspect the facilities, personnel, military, weapons, anything that is introduced to Antarctica by any other party. They can do aerial reconnaissance to make sure that they're being honest. But this is an interesting section right here, Section 5. All expeditions to and within Antarctica on the part of its ships or nationals and all expeditions to Antarctica organized in or proceeding from its territory. They have to tell everybody else who's coming to Antarctica. So if you want to charter a ship in Miami and sail down to Antarctica, the United States government has an obligation to know about that and to inform the other members of the treaty. You're welcome to go, but you have to tell somebody that you're going. Now, just as an aside, there's no 911 in Antarctica. If you go to Antarctica, you are responsible for making arrangements in advance for your own rescue should it be needed. There are no doctor's offices or emergency rooms there. Surprisingly, they do have ATMs, but they don't have courts. If you break the law in Antarctica, you will be detained by security and sent home. Your home country will deal with you. Now, some of the more astute viewers may have noted that in the last section I talked about breaking the law in Antarctica. Well, what law is that? In Antarctica, you are subject to the laws of your home country, and they are responsible for your conduct. So if you do something that would be illegal back home in Antarctica, you're going to be detained and sent back home, and they're going to deal with you. Now, sections 9, 10, and 11 refer to the Antarctic Treaty Committee. This is kind of like the Board of Governors for Antarctica. It's a little mini UN. All the signatory members of the treaty have a seat at this meeting, and they just discuss the various things that have to do with the operation of the Antarctic Treaty. Section 12 talks about modifications and renewal of the treaty. Section 13 tells you how the treaty needs to be ratified. And Section 14 just basically says it's being reproduced in all the languages of the signatory members. That's all there is to the Antarctic Treaty. You know, the Antarctic Treaty was a remarkable document. It was a peace document. It was an arms limitation document. It was a document for international cooperation in science. Well, I hope that you enjoyed the presentation. If you'd like to see more of things like this in my other videos, hit that little like and subscribe down in the lower right corner. This is Bob the Science Guy, signing out from Northern Michigan. We'll see you again soon.
Did I hear that right when you were saying that America had an authority statute or statute for anyone going there?
Say again.
So he was mentioning about if anyone went down there, they had to let America know.
Well,
Oh, he was just giving America as an example. So I think if Australia has a charter going there, they have to inform everyone else as well.
Yeah. If you go to the ATS website, so the Antarctic Treaty System website, and you go to the tourism section, there should be there'll be forms and downloads and things like that, but there should also be a download section there. And I haven't looked at it for a while, but it will give you the list of all the people that put in for applications for expeditions, cruises, you know, everything. And it'll also show you who was turned around, you know, names of vessels and things like that rock unannounced. Also has in there all the approvals for future expeditions as well. I mean, I haven't looked for a while, but Qantas had a few in there. And I mean, obviously, the Qantas Antarctic flights are a new thing, you know, because they put a ban on it after the Mount Erebus disaster. So that's pretty new, and you can go in there and you should be able to see, you know, where there's people putting applications in. There'll be a list of expeditions that are being completed, people that are being turned around, and all that sort of stuff. It's all, everyone knows it's all there freely available.
So the section you were talking about, Terry, was it comes under Article 3, and it's a freedom of information, basically. So that, for example, if we from Australia wanted to go down there, we tell the people of authority in our country, and then the people of authority in our country would share that information with everyone else that may be sending research scientists or whomever, tourists, and allowing them to go at the time. The idea behind it is so that numbers to the region are limited, so you don't get severe overcrowding and all of that type of stuff.
I'm back now. Where'd everybody go? You just all went and hid on me, didn't you?
We were all waiting for you.
Well, now we can.
Sorry.
It's meant to be cricket.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I missed the key. Sorry.
Oh,
Fat
yeah,
fingers.
yeah.
There you go. There's the cricket.
There's the crickets. Okay. Oh dear. Well, I suppose we can try to breeze through the treaty and see what these areas that Bob was referring to, but then he may have brushed over areas that were more to do with us, because it's not America that he was relating things to. He was relating things to for Americans.
He covered it pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he covered it absolutely spot on, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, the important thing is that when we all signed the treaty, those countries with territorial claims in Antarctica agreed not to enforce them while the treaty is in force, but did not relinquish them.
Yeah.
And it's also kind of how they built the areas of responsibility, was based on those territorial claims of countries.
So what article did Bob get up to? Article 5, wasn't it?
I think he went through all of them, didn't he? Where there was stuff that was.
Well, I'm just thinking along the whole idea of total clarity and all of that type of stuff.
He stepped over a few bits in each of the articles, I think. I mean, obviously he showed Article 1 and paragraphs 1 and 2, which are the really important ones. And Article 2, the sharing the research.
Well, I guess it didn't go into environmental impacts and stuff like that.
Because it actually goes up to, the articles go all the way up to 11, 12, 13,
14?
14. Yeah, 14.
Yeah, he did mention it, because he said 14 is the bit. Yeah. 14 is the one that says it's all going to be translated into the relevant countries' languages.
Countries, yep.
I can't remember what the 12 was. Kind of the general sort of. Oh, one of them was how the country should ratify the treaty.
The most important one is Article 9, though. So in Article 9, it says that the representatives of the conveying parties named in the preamble to present to the presented treaty shall meet in the city of Canberra within 2 months after the date of entry. So I'm guessing that. Yeah, so I'm assuming, reading through that when they do the re-signing of it, it would be a similar process where they'd come to most likely Canberra to re-sign.
Probably. And I would say, I mean, even if they changed the city, I would expect it to be Australia, New Zealand, South Africa,
Southern
Chile, or Argentina, one of those, the capitals of those, countries.
majority
would host.
shareholders, as it would be.
Yeah, I mean, those countries would, to me, be the ones that would be most appropriate to hold that type of ceremony in.
So we don't need to go through the treaty again, then, you think?
I think he's touched on pretty much everything that needs to be touched on, and there's nothing in there that says that you can't go there. You just have to go through the right channels.
Yeah.
Hey, Terry. Terry.
Yeah.
Just be careful, because before you were showing PDF files on YouTube from your computer.
Yeah, I was realising that what I can and can't do.
Just so you don't show anything you don't want to show.
yeah, that's true. Oh, well, I haven't got anything.
Oh, you never know.
Oh shit!
Don't go doxing yourself.
I guess I forgot my coffee. I'll be back. Jeez.
All right. Something interesting that might be worth looking at is if you talk about the claim that you can't go there, might be to have a look at the area of the ATS website as far as tourism goes and what you would need to do to set up an expedition. Maybe not for tonight, but
I missed that. Well, we're organising a holiday, are we?
Yeah.
We're all going to take that picture at the South Pole of hanging upside down on it.
Okay.
No, I was just thinking, the claim is you can't go there.
Yeah.
And they say it's because of the Antarctic Treaty. Well, it's quite clear that the Antarctic Treaty doesn't go there. Doesn't say any of that. So, the hoops you'd have to jump through would come down to your application.
Well,
the tourism application.
Yeah, well, it sounds like with most places, because of how isolated it is and how well organised you are and all those
exactly
type
right,
of stuff, to go to a place like that. They're not just going to let a normal person go that just walks down there in their shoes and thongs and a slouch hat with a backpack or something, and then say, "Yep, you're allowed here."
So,
and that's all on the application form and the guidelines.
Along those lines, like, I don't know how many people have done off-track bushwalking within a parks run area. So, like the Department of Parks of Australia. The permit you have to go through just to get that, it's not like you can just go and do it. If you get caught by the local authority, you do get in trouble. So to secure a permit to do off-track hiking, and I'll just use one in Victoria, for example, we did an off-track hike, and you had to secure it 12 months in advance. So you had to get game permission you had to give them the full layout of where you were going to go. You had to list all of the safety equipment you're going to carry, the alternative communications that you'll be carrying as a backup to mobile phones or anything like that. So I think realistically, it would be very much along those lines. The making sure, like Bob said before, making sure that you're safe. You can't just dial 000 or 911 or something like that and expect a AMBO to turn up and save you. It's a lot of it will be making sure that whatever you do, it's done in a safe manner to the best of, everyone's ability.
Yeah, well, I mean, an example of that happened here recently. So Kakadu, if you're not a local, you need to pay a fee and show ID and give some numbers and stuff like that. And anyway, a French tourist, he obviously did the right thing, and then they noticed, like, as you give your registration of your car, and the rangers saw his car parked in the same spot, no one there for 2 days. And then, so for the last week, Care Flight have been flying out helicopters searching for this guy. There's been rangers out looking for him. And then they found him. He was in a cave apparently writing a child's book.
Huh.
Just thinking, I didn't expect this to happen. Obviously everyone was thankful that he was found alive. But after a week, they're thinking, freaking hell, we might find the guy dead. And that was purely because his van, backpacker, you're from France, yep, that's your car, it's parked in the car park, and the rangers saw it there for 2 days, didn't move, didn't see a sign of him, raised the alarm. Let alone, and that's just, in mainland Australia, and they're the things that happen, let alone in Antarctica, where you don't have easy access to areas are even harder still. And of course, they want to know who you are, what you're doing, and what sort of backup plan you've got. Right?
I posted a link to South Pole holidays. So surely they wouldn't advertise holidays if you couldn't get there.
Well, we can share the image. It wouldn't be a problem. I just don't know what I can do and what I can't do without mucking things up here.
Well, I'm going to have to drop, guys. You go to bed.
All right, Rich.
Early
All
night.
right, have a good night. I'll be
early night.
lurking on
Cheers,
YouTube.
Rich.
I'll catch you tomorrow, probably.
Yeah.
See you, Rich.
See ya.
Good night.
See you, Rich.
Thanks for dropping
Au
by.
revoir.
That looks
Bye.
good.
That
South
was-
Pole Adventure. 5 or 6 nights, January, December. £41,000 excluding flights.
Wow.
Yeah, they said it was about 64,000 American for land and Noel to go down there.
Is that return?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be returned. Yeah.
One way, make your own way back.
Here's a canoe.
I was thinking a couple of floaties.
Yeah. Don't know where that leaves from. So I don't know where you got to fly to first.
I don't know if they fly in and land there or they get a boat down there.
Oh, they fly in. They do both. It depends on the time of year you go, though.
Yeah, they can get the planes in certain times of the year.
During their dark 6 months, they have a lot of problems with storms and stuff. So
Yeah. You fly in by Aleutian from Punta Arenas in Chile. Across the Drake Passage.
What's next?
What? And
I don't know. I didn't plan that far ahead.
Okay.
you
Man, you just had to do that before I go to work. Oh, I posted a link for in the Discord, and he goes, "Oh shit!"
yeah.
Just before I go to work.
Yeah. Oh, there's one other thing you have to remember. The South Pole is at an effective elevation of about 12,000 feet.
The South Pole?
Yeah.
What height did you say it was?
It says effective altitude of 12,000 feet.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Ah, shit. Sorry, I'm just playing around again.
Well,
So,
I just got a really nice present through the post.
Yeah, well, I got one yesterday, and then I'm meant to be getting another one in the next couple of days, and I want to be home tomorrow when it comes, but the missus had other plans.
Oh, well, if you get home by 2
Mine
o'clock
is-
and there's a red card in the letterbox, you'll just pop down the post office box.
Yeah.
Post office.
Well, I'll be out and about, so no big drama.
My new PlusNet hub.
Oh.
Or my
Your router.
high-speed internet. My new router, indeed.
Well, we're going to have an unboxing?
Too late. It's unboxed.
Tore into it.
well, no, sorry. Tell a lie. I undone the cellophane and opened the box and have removed the "Let's Get Connected" guide.
Yeah, throw that away.
Yeah, well, it's not like I don't know how to set it.
Throw
It's
away
not like
the instructions.
you just plug the damn thing in, didn't you?
Yeah,
put wires in the holes that fit, and it will work.
My package, I tried to undo it, I couldn't get into it.
It's childproof.
It was childproof, yeah.
Oh, and literally plug it in and wait 5 minutes, and it auto sets up.
Doesn't need to pull data from there. From the ISP.
Step four, get online. This is the easy part. Put this guy down and make yourself a drink and come back in 5 minutes. Don't try to use the internet while you're waiting, even if the light turns blue, as your hub might still be setting itself up.
I'm just wondering.
Yeah.
He's playing with a bubble wrap.
How long's
I haven't got any
cable,
bubble wrap.
Alan?
That's Terry.
I want bubble wrap.
How
There's
long's
no
the-
bubble wrap.
How long's the Ethernet cable, Alan?
Not long enough.
Yeah, I know.
Pretty sure it's not fucking long enough. Why can't they put a nice long one in there?
I'm tempted to send you one of mine, but it'll take a couple weeks to get there.
Bubble wrap's not popping as much as it used to.
The the Ethernet cable will get about halfway from where the thing. Oh, mind you, the phone line cable. That looks like a decently long one.
Oh, that was 5 seconds of fun.
Oh, just let me have a look at this. Just let me have a look at this cable. Let me undo.
I've got Windows 10 now.
Yeah. Twice.
Twice. Yeah, twice. I might put it on this hard drive. That'll solve all arguments.
I don't think it'll be long enough. Well, it might just work for setting the fucker up.
Yeah, get next to your PC and plug in the Ethernet cable next to your box.
I might have to sort of, yeah, but it's not going to be elegant. It's just going to kind of be
No,
stretched.
it's just for the time being.
You should see my computer tower. It's naked at the moment.
Got bits and pieces missing.
Oh, and they've even sent a new ADSL filter.
Oh.
Yeah, how many phones
they usually
have you
do
got in
that.
the house, Alan?
One.
Well, you only need one filter.
What about its socket?
Well, actually, at the moment, it's plugged into the filter that the existing
Yeah, how many sockets in the house have you got there?
2.
Yeah, you might need to put one on that one.
There's nothing plugged into it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you don't need a filter plugged in if you haven't actually got anything plugged into the line.
Yeah, I think that only applies if you've got the third one.
I don't even know if I've got a filter anymore now. The way they've wired it
Yeah,
up.
you. Oh,
Not that I can think of.
You're not an ADSL, Terry.
Yeah, I've got that other thing. I think it's still stuck to the wall over there behind the cupboard. I didn't have a plan. I knew I should have had a plan B. Was there anything
never
else put
mind.
into? Was there anything else put into homework that went into the private place?
Not really.
I know. I must.
What you can do,
I don't
Terry,
know. I know nothing.
start saving the files off that hard drive to a folder on your desktop.
Yeah, I'll do that. Well, I can't do it first thing in the morning unless they turn the power off on me.
I was just saying you can start having a poke around now.
I don't want to. I can't move my screens around because it mucks up the thing.
Well, this is the beauty of having 2 screens.
Yeah. Oh. Okay.
You can always get the one off the other PC.
So obviously that's up near Chile and all of that over there, and that's near Australia and New Zealand down here.
Now, why isn't it showing up on the live feed high enough?
Oh, isn't it?
I wonder if I went. No, that doesn't work.
Does that look like there's some overlapping claims down there?
No, at the bottom, the French claim sits right in between the Australian claim. So
yeah,
there's a section, there's a wedge.
Teeny weeny.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I was looking and I kind of half felt that the British claim kind of overlaps a bit with the Brazilian and Argentinian claims.
Well, there are other photos that kind of show that as well, so you might be right.
But there again, why am I not surprised that the UK and Argentina have a dispute over territory? I mean, it's not exactly new, is it?
Yeah, I do find it quite funny that right dead centre in the middle of the Australian claim, there's the Soviet Union had a couple of bases set up.
Where are we over on the right-hand
So
side?
we're on the right-hand side, the green sections.
Yeah. Oh, I'm colour illiterate. I'm just looking at the right-hand side between 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock. That's...
With a tiny little chunk taken out for France.
Is that a representation or is that an exact?
That's as exact as you can get off the internet.
Mm. So if you stand at the South Pole, you're basically standing on everybody's section.
Yes, I guess you would be.
And then which way is south?
Down.
Towards the centre.
Up or down?
Well, you have to admit that this is the one place that equidistant azimuthal projection is actually not a bad idea.
Oh.
I had a video of the sun tracking around on an equatorial mount, so to speak, somewhere.
I think Woofy might have had one on his website as well.
Yeah.
Like on his YouTube channel.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if that's where I pinched it from.
Well, if you're gonna steal something, you may as well steal it from the best.
Yeah, that's true.
Because, Terry, with your hard drive.
Which one?
The hard drive, not the SSD.
Yeah, okay.
You have to be sure that we're going to get everything off that you need because we're going to blow it away.
And what are we going to do with it after that? After we...
Well, we'll blow it away, convert it to GPT, and then you'll use it as a data drive for all your stuff.
Oh, so it can share from the SSD?
Yeah, it'll be a data drive to your system. And the SSD will be your boot drive, your OS drive.
So if I have a desktop item with a game or something, it'll come from the hard drive?
No, well, it's probably not a good idea running it from the hard drive. Like, I don't know how many games you got, but you'll probably get a few on the SSD. You'll have to leave about 20% the SSD free. 10% will be reserved for garbage collection.
So what will the hard drive have on it then?
Well, you can store the installation files for your games and stuff like that, and all your photos and documents and whatnot.
Oh, so I'd have to go through my computer and then click on that drive separate. No?
It'll, like you'll have C drive, then you'll have D drive, and then you'll have your DVD.
Okay.
F, whatever.
Oh, so it won't be shared straight through on the desktop. Okay.
Yeah, it'll come up as a drive, so you'll just double click on it, and you'll have a terabyte of space to use.
No, what I was saying is I won't have the icon for a game on the desktop. I mean,
yeah, you will.
I'll have the game like I've got now.
You can have the installation files on the data drive.
Yeah.
You can install it from the data drive onto the C drive. You can run it from the C drive.
So when I click on the game, wouldn't it just go straight to that hard drive and collect the data from that?
But it's too slow.
Oh, okay.
Too slow.
Okay.
So we have to be absolutely sure you get everything off that drive that you want to keep.
Yeah.
Stick it in a folder on your desktop.
Yeah.
We can't go any further until you do that.
Yeah. And I can't do it while I'm here.
Of course. But if you're not doing anything now, we're not streaming or anything, you can start having a poke around and put the folder on your desktop, like backup. You can create folders in the folder, okay, so you can keep pictures separate from your docs and all that kind of stuff.
Don't make it sound too complicated.
It's nice. Just start doing it before you get impatient, like you couldn't get me today.
Alan, did you say that you needed a different monitor so that you could do your BIOS or something?
Yes, I can't access my BIOS. I mean, it's all right. I can steal Nathan's monitor for it while I set the BIOS up, because the BIOS cannot output video
on HDMI.
It can't. Well, DisplayPort.
Yeah. So I was going to say most TVs nowadays do have a VGA input.
They do, don't they? That's handy.
So that would give you an option for a second monitor that might be easier for you to arrange to connect to your computer.
Yeah. I just have to find a VGA cable then. Because I don't know because the VGA cable from the monitor that I've got that's hiding under my bed at the moment just happens to be permanently attached to it, because weirdly that's where the power supply plugs into as well. But instead of plugging the power supply into the monitor, you plug the power supply into the VGA back of the VGA plug.
Okay.
And then it feeds the power up the cable with the VGA signal. Why, I have absolutely no idea.
Well, I've got a it's a older monitor that's got DVI and VGA plugs on the back of it.
Yeah.
And well, it runs on 19 volts, and apparently there's another version of it that has something similar, but it doesn't actually need a power supply. It can draw power through the VGA line.
Oh, right. Yeah, this is a Samsung, and of course I have to go through a VGA to DVI converter to plug it into the back of the bloody tower, don't I?
Yeah.
Alan, I've got a few avatars that we've been playing around with. Do you want me to just save all of them? In case because I have
Yes.
Because there's a couple of them I did resize to fit, and I don't know if they're the copies or they're the originals. I'll just see how many. It shouldn't be very big, the file. It's in bytes. Yeah, 60 kilobytes.
You can get DVI to HDMI.
Okay. I'll
I just went.
That's what I've got.
I'm saving all my what's into a folder.
And I actually did the right thing. When I got the DVI to HDMI cable, I bought a slightly more expensive one with all the nice plugs the nice plugs either end, so that it doesn't just turn to crap in a few months.
Yeah, well, I think I've worked out the really easy way to make sure you don't bugger up cables and stuff. Yeah, and why people's laptops and things end up buggered up so quickly. Don't use wires and cables to drag the damn thing around and pick it up and carry it by.
They're screwed in sometimes.
My friend was moaning that his daughter got through a power supply box for a laptop in like a month. After a month, the cable was knackered. Then I found out why. She literally picks the laptop up by it and carries the laptop round by the bloody cable.
Stupid.
Yep.
No. Hey Terry, you can call Terry. You can call that folder the Thingamy-Bob folder.
Thingamy-Bob folder.
Are we still going out live?
Yeah, we are. What time is it?
Oh.
How long have we been streaming for? Well, it's
In,
past 12
in that case,
o'clock.
don't you think we ought to make a bit more effort to be chatty, to entertain the audience?
You mean
Assuming we still got an audience.
You mean the whole 9 people that are in there? Oh.
No, I think we might call it quits for now.
I mean, there are a couple of people who are not in here who are in there.
Well, there's
Surf. There's Dinky
Surf's
Die.
in there, and there's
Who else is hanging around?
Dinky's in there.
Dinky's in
Dora.
there.
Yeah, that and Nana was in there for a while ago.
Surf wants to be entertained. Carl's just lurking.
And I demand it.
Yeah, well, Carl's
Dinky
always
posts.
lurking. Carl that's what Carl does. He lurks.
Oh, we can always get Bandy in here and have an argument.
well, it's either that or I run around naked. You make your minds up.
Oh, we'll do both.
You won't see much. It's cold here.
Gently's here.
Well, I'm just trying to sort out some files.
Carl's in here, but he's muted.
Yeah, but he's typing in text.
Yes.
Yeah, but he's in here as well.
Hello, hello.
Yeah, see? Yeah,
Hello.
Carl can do a song for us. Start singing, Carl.
I can't even put up with my own voice, let alone my own singing.
Has anyone got a folder or a file with some memes in it with some funny pictures or whatever they are?
Oh, that'd be Gino's job, wouldn't it?
Oh, okay.
She does memes.
You know.
Running low on new ones.
Oh, are ya?
I could find.
Okay.
I could see what I can find. Well, everyone drew over my other one.
What did they?
Yeah, but that doesn't stay on there.
Yeah, it doesn't stay on it.
Oh, I know that.
But I mean, I'm sure we can. I'm sure we can all promise to be good and not scribble all over any pictures that are shit.
Oh, here's one that's relevant.
Alan, there's a
Probably seen it before.
There's a little bit of a problem with that.
That's awesome.
I don't think you're allowed to play with your crayons anymore.
Want a bet?
Uh-oh.
I'm going to leave it at that.
You're going to leave it at that. There we go. There's the Penguin Army in protecting Antarctica.
Oh, you deleted it. Oh well, never mind.
Who deleted what?
Somebody deleted the "Oh yes I can!" ! From.
Oh dear, how sad, never mind.
Good on you, Ashman.
I'm going to end up with files inside of folders and folders inside of folders here in a minute. Oh, shit.
Well, you can label the pictures, folder inside the folder pictures, and you can install another folder called documents. And
I know, that's what I'm trying to figure out how to do it. Oh, shit.
Yeah, trying to help somebody. Go on.
I was just going to say you can name it photos in photos.
You know the easiest way to do it, Terry? You just copy everything across and then delete the shit you don't want.
No. You can just
Lee.
copy everything to one folder. So I was just trying to see if you want to organise it. And
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Really matter.
Yeah, I wouldn't
Just
mind it
on-
organised in a way where I've got basic.
You're only going to be copying it to a USB stick if it's small enough, or burning it to a DVD.
I can't burn it to a DVD.
Well, we'll fix that later. You can always boot the PC down and connect the DVD to those blue plugs, not the white ones.
Oh shit! I don't know what I got. Can't remember now.
You'll be fine. Don't worry.
Yeah, I think I need an extra bit of the screen to do this easier.
Sometimes it's easy to do it with 2 folders open side by side.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
You find all the stuff in one side, then you just highlight everything that you want to keep. Hold down Control, tap C, go over to the other window, and click once in the white square, and then press Control, then V.
Yeah, you know I don't use shortcut keys.
Well, you can always just highlight, right-click, copy, then move over to the other folder. In focus, right-click, paste.
Yeah.
No difference.
Oh, I've got a lot of pictures.
How many can you show though?
I don't know. I'm gonna measure it to see if it tells me.
He's gonna get the ruler out.
I measure 1.4 gig.
Do you want to keep all of them?
Well, actually, what happened was when I did the pictures for the car repairs, I ended up with doubles of doubles, and I'm going to have to go lay them all out so I can see which ones are got doubles of in different folders. I don't know how I did, but I did. I ended up with doubles.
Apple stuffed up their software on one of their versions of iOS, and every time you connected the phone to the PC, it would want to put all the photos off the phone onto your PC, and you couldn't stop it.
Well, I'll leave the picture folder for now.
They had folders on top of folders on top of folders, like all these weird named folders all over the place.
Well, I don't think I'm going to worry about keeping these pictures I've got of. Yeah, I don't think they're worth keeping. Things that I've grabbed off the internet. Well, I got my flat Earth list of all flat earthers. I can't get rid of that because I wouldn't know where to find it again.
Flat earthers.
It's only a text file, so I'll keep that. And I'm not going back to Steam, so we can forget about that for now.
Back up your password.
No, I didn't password it.
Steam account.
Yeah, I was going to go into it, and then when I realised it was going to cost money,
okay.
Did we have to, Alan? Did we set up password stuff for Skype?
Well, you would have had to have a password to log into it.
Okay. Yeah, I can delete
But that would be your Microsoft password, I would have thought.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It might have linked through. I've wrote anything that's to do with passwords, I always just give it a title and write it down in my little black book. So
remember, capital letters are different from lower capital letters.
Yes, lowercase and uppercase are different. Yeah.
Yeah. Remember that.
Usually.
I had a friend who wrote everything down in capital letters.
Oh no!
I looked at it and went, "Oh no."
No, if it's a capital letter, I write it as a capital. If it's a lowercase, I write it as lowercase.
Yeah. He said, "That's all the passwords." I said, "Yeah, but which is which?" We can change every one now.
Oh, I've got to keep that. Oh shit! Have I got a folder in here yet? No, I haven't. I'm putting a new folder in there, and then I put everything in that.
Well, you don't have to do it all now. Just.
Well, I'm just looking while we're doing nothing.
Yeah, there's no stress. You don't have to do it all at the same now. Just start getting yourself organised for when you can do it.
Yeah.
Knockout pills time.
FE Corp's been busy today, handing out privacy notices to everybody that mirrored Sly Sparkane's video
Oh, they did they?
that they copyrighted on? Did a copyright on? Yeah, there's a heap of people mirrored it, and they've been handing out privacy notices to them.
Do they
But
realise they're going to get done for it?
Yeah, well, one of the videos had everything, all their pictures and everything, blocked out, so there's no privacy problem.
What you mean? What you mean? The pictures that are on their public website?
Yeah,
that's correct. Yeah. And because it's already on a public website, they can't actually do any privacy strike on it.
No, because actually they haven't actually taken the photos and showing them individually as I remember it. It literally shows the web page with the photographs on the web page.
Yeah, and they direct people on their videos to go and look at the website because it's public knowledge.
Yeah.
They've got links on all of their social media to that website. They've got links on all of their videos on YouTube to that website. They've given that website out to everyone in the public, and it's accessible.
Because they're a so-called bloody filed as a charity or whatever, they've got to have open access like that anyway.
That's right, and they haven't. Like when we were both in Uni Rock today, he went through it all, and he
They haven't filed tax return for 2 years.
Well, how does that work? They might be a tax-free organisation or on the tax-free list, but they still
they still got to file a tax thing.
They're still got to go through the IRS and all that shit. Prove what they're saying that they're not. Because if they're a profit-free organisation, a non-profit organisation, they've got to prove it.
They hold a certain article tax-free exempt.
Yeah, but they haven't even applied for it yet.
Well,
but they claim they do have it.
Well, I think tax department might have a word to them about that.
They have letters have been sent. Just put it that way. Letters have been sent everywhere by multiple people.
I think YouTube's been absolutely harassed by Twitter for it.
Yeah, Reds.
Reds got on, and well, you know, like what Reds is like. Once he gets onto a cause, he doesn't do it by halves. And the YouTube team got what was it? I think at last count something like 150 Twitter retweet bombards at them. So, but the thing I find funny is if someone does a copyright claim and then it's found to be a false copyright claim, that the punishment goes back on to the person that's made the false copyright claim. In this situation, does it mean if they've made a false, and I'll use the word doxing claim, a privacy claim, which is giving out private information, so it's doxing. If they've made a false claim, does it go back onto them?
Yes. So, and YouTube could shut them down.
I was going to say, by this simple act, if they've gone out and done claims on 10 or so different sites that have mirrored this same video, they're going to get 10 strikes against their name straight away and get shut down.
And there's proof too that the president of FE Corp told all the board of directors to file for the copy claims.
Yeah.
And that, so Sly's got an email or something. The idiot emailed Sly or something like that. They're as dumb as bricks, FE Corp.
Well, even when they prove the world's round, they still think it's flat.
and Riley was going on to streams and that, going, "Oh, it's the end of Sly's thing before it even came through." So he got on there telling her before it even happened.
Yeah.
Idiot.
So here's a question for you. If YouTube's going down this whole thing of deceitfulness, doxing, and all of that, when people are bald-faced lying, I know people have got their right to say whatever they want, and
At least in the US.
Yeah, they can say whatever they want within reason. But if people are bald-faced lying and posting it as educational information, isn't that like a contradiction in terms when it comes down to something like flat Earth? Like, how can they come under the classification of educational when it's not?
Well, that's why they cut him back on the algorithm, so you can't. It's harder to find flat Earth on YouTube. You don't get Yeah, I still get recommendations for bloody flat Earth channels, but not as many as I used to.
But
And that'll be because you look at a lot of them, won't it?
I don't look at flat Earth sites. I look at the debunker sites. I never look at a flat Earth video.
No, me neither.
Shouldn't they come in under fiction though? Like, and I'm not trying to be a smart ass or anything here. Like, realistically, they should be coming in under a fiction.
Fiction, yeah. Like that'll
heading.
throw into into a frenzy.
But, well, I don't care. It's not my problem. If they don't like it, well, learn the truth.
Learn the facts.
You know, it would be, and let's be honest, it's like me turning around and saying, "Radio, God is real." The first thing you're going to say to me is, "Prove it." How can I prove it? Well, I can't. Well, until
Why
you
do
can.
you believe it?
Then why do you believe it? Well, because someone told me once. And then you
Because
go through that.
Trees, birds, the sky.
You go through that whole process of, well, is it possible that the information you're given is incorrect? You can't prove it. You follow through the tracks. You go through the realistic appreciation of the whole situation for yourself. It can't be proven. Therefore, it's more than likely not real. The Bible technically should be in a fiction area of the library, although it's also conveniently in the religious area of the library.
I can see one day that's where it's going to be put, but me or you won't be here when that happens.
Oh, hell no. And it will be laughed upon in the future. You know, they'll look back and go, in the past, the human race believed in these mysterious books that no one really knows who wrote them or where they came from. But like, isn't that going down that whole copyright thing? Isn't it fraudulent for them to actually have the word edge or be displaying themselves as an educational video?
Yeah.
So why can't there be a complaint made about that?
I don't know.
That'd be every single flat Earth video that exists.
Not the point, though. I know, and this is what I'm getting at. So these people that go out and say, "Oh no, it's educational," well, no, it's not education. It's like PewDiePie's not in educational videos, is he?
I don't know these people you're talking about. Cutie Pie. Who's Cutie Pie?
Oh, he's only got 100 million subs or something like that on YouTube.
For Flat Earth or?
No. He's random shit content that kids like.
Ah, okay.
Music and don't look it up. It's bad for you. Don't look it up.
No, just a bit like Logan Paul. Huh?
Well, yeah, it's that style of crap. Yeah.
It's funny.
Who was PewDiePie having the I've got the most number of subs thing with?
That was against T.
T-Series.
That's it. T-Series.
Never heard of them. Until that came about, I'd never heard of either of them.
Well, T-Series is like a Indian-based. I think it's all about like the music and all of that type of stuff.
Flat Earth until about 2 years ago.
Stuff.
Oh dear.
Oh, I think it's bedtime.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing in the way of stopping the stream. Saying goodbye to all the people that are watching.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Of the 9
Bye.
people.
Bye, everybody.
There'll be Dinky, Die and Surf. Oh well, hopefully next Saturday night we can get something going again.
Oh, we'll be doing everything again because you'll be on a new OS.
Well, I'm
And
gonna
hopefully things will be working better then.
Yeah, well, I've got all the saved stuff from Zoom and voice meter set up and OBS. I don't know how OBS is going to get saved. That's the only thing I don't know.
It's OBS. Broadcasting software.
Yeah. How'll that get saved, Alan, you reckon?
What's that? OBS saves itself.
Yeah. So if I keep the... I'm trying to think what part I'd have to keep. I'd be keeping the...
What? OBS remembers everything you do. So anything you create, it saves.
Where?
Yeah, but I'm deleting this hard drive.
Internally. I don't know how you find the saved stuff because I think you have to export it.
Is there an option in Zoom to export your settings, Terry?
Oh, Zoom's okay, but not...
Oh, OBS. Is there an option in OBS to
Export.
export your settings?
Yeah, there's an scene collection export.
Okay, well there you go, Terry. Export it to that folder.
Okay, we'll look into that.
It's a JSON file, whatever a JSON file is.
Yes. Give me a couple of days to sort out all my save stuff, Quasar.
Oh, okay.
Probably Friday, Saturday. We'll probably, at least by Saturday anyway, I should be able to.
Well, it's only going to take us like about 10-15 minutes to blow that disk away.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But it's the stuff that's on it that you want to make sure that you've got off it and save.
Well, I'll do that tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow night. I'll get all that sorted out.
Cocaine.
And Friday, and then Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday we're not free for us people here.
Who's not free on Saturday, Sunday?
Or most of the fathers.
What's Sunday?
Isn't it this Sunday or
Father's
Sunday
Day.
after?
Is it? Mm.
What's on Sunday?
Haven't celebrated.
Australian Father's Day.
Haven't celebrated Father's Day for 30 years. So I didn't.
Me neither.
Didn't realise.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping Sunday that we are going to the Ford Development Centre at Dunton in Essex for the 50th anniversary of the Capri.
I'm coming. Got room in the car?
I'll have to have a SIM card.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's true.
If I get a SIM card, I'll take the phone and I'll try streaming some of it.
We can do that through Discord, I suppose.
Excuse me.
But my dad worked there, and several of my dad's friends worked there. Oh, and my father-in-law worked there.
Keep it in the family.
Yeah.
Well, Dad worked at Ford's, and a fair number of his friends also worked there because, or at different places in Ford's, because Ford is around that particular area. Ford is a huge employer. Because you had the main factory at Dagenham, you had the research and development centre at Dunton, you had the tractor plant at Basildon, you had a radiator plant at Basildon that just made the radiators. Because they did them in house. What else was there? Oh, Ford Europe Central Office at Worley, near Brentwood.
All right, I'm going to go, guys. I'll talk to you later.
All right.
See
ya.
Yeah, there you go.
See you later.
You know, there was so many places that Ford had that. Yeah, there was a big chance that you would know somebody who worked for Ford's, even if, just because. I mean, my brother-in-law worked for Ford's.
There's a big MG plant or something that closed down, and they just turned the lights off. All the cars they had finished just sat there, and they just walked away. There's all the new, and they're all the new cars are still sitting there.
Wow.
I thought that was one of the smaller factories.
They'd been building cars for years or something. Different brands. I can't remember where it was. I can't remember where it was.
Was that the one that was on top? Was that the one that was on Top Gear?
I'm not. No, I saw this on a video where people go around to abandoned buildings, and they went in and there was all these MGs just sitting there, finished, but and they closed the factory down, just left them in the factory.
Yeah, I think they've blown that up now.
I just can't remember where it was.
That'll be. I'm trying to think where the MG factory was, where MGs were built. Trouble is that after British Leyland took over, they just moved everything about a lot.
Yeah, I think it was about 2014 or 15 they shut down.
Yeah,
Okay then. I'm going to close the stream down now. So, night everyone. And we'll see you next time.
Okay, night all.
Okay, I thought you'd
Bye
already,
again.
I thought you'd already done that bit.
No,
Bye.
I'm
Bye again.
I'm
Okay,
just
night.
about, just about to click the button.
Bye.
It's good night from him, and it's good night from something else they used to say.
Me.
Yeah, that's
It's a
it.
good night from me, and it's a good night from him. Good night.